Wars are won with tanks and guns. That's what they teach you. Empires rise through military conquest, through superior firepower, through battlefield dominance. That's the narrative. That's the history you learned. And it's mostly wrong. History's most powerful empires didn't draw maps with blood. They drew them with stone, asphalt, and steel. With roads, with ports, with logistics networks, with infrastructure that looked like public works but functioned as weapons, as control mechanisms, as silent occupation. An infrastructure project isn't just construction. It's conquest without invasion. It's control without occupation. It's power projection through logistics rather than force. And once you understand this, you see it everywhere, throughout history. And especially today, this is finance through time. And this is how a road built 2,500 years ago became the blueprint for modern global dominance. How Persia's royal road taught China how to conquer the world. How infrastructure is the ultimate weapon. And why the roads you drive on and the cheap products you order are actually the front lines of a global domination war you didn't know you were watching. 2,500 years ago, Persian King Darius I built a road, 2,700 kilometers from Susa to Sardis, the Royal Road. Historians call it an engineering marvel, a testament to Persian organizational capacity, a demonstration of imperial ambition, all true, also incomplete, because that road wasn't built for the people, it was built to control them. The Royal Road had stations every 20 to 30 kilometers, fresh horses, supplies, rested couriers, a relay system that could move messages in gold from one end of the empire to the other in 7 to 9 days, 7 to 9 days to traverse a distance that took ordinary travelers 3 months. This speed wasn't achieved again until railroads appeared over 2 millennia later. Think about that. For 2,000 years, no communication system matched the Persian Royal Road's velocity. This wasn't just impressive, this was strategically revolutionary. This was information moving at light speed for its era. Why does speed matter? Because speed is control. A satrap governor in a distant province can't hide problems for long, can't delay bad news, can't operate independently. When the central authority can communicate with the periphery in days instead of months, the periphery has no autonomy, has no time to build independent power, has no opportunity to rebel before imperial response arrives. The road moved more than messages, moved gold, tax revenue from distant satrapies flowing back to central treasury, military funding moving to frontier armies, emergency capital deployed to crisis regions. The Royal Road was a financial highway, a logistics network for moving wealth where the empire needed it, when it needed it, and intelligence, spies, reports, strategic information. Everything the center needed to know about the periphery traveled on that road. The Persian Empire didn't just have territory, it had real-time awareness of that territory. Could respond to threats before they materialized, could suppress rebellions before they organized. Not through military brilliance, through logistics superiority. This is what infrastructure actually is, not public service, control infrastructure. The road wasn't built to help people travel. It was built to help the empire dominate, to move imperial power faster than local resistance could organize, to ensure that central authority was always closer, always faster, always more responsive than any regional challenge. You don't need to conquer territory if you control how that territory connects to the world. If you control the trade routes, you control the commerce. If you control the ports, you control the imports and exports. If you control the logistics, you control the economy. And if you control the economy, the territory is yours, whether they admit it or not. This is the anatomy of logistics-based power. The Romans understood it, built roads throughout their empire. Not for citizen convenience, for legion mobility, so armies could deploy anywhere in the empire rapidly, so rebellions could be crushed before they spread. So trade flowed along paths Rome controlled, generating customs revenue, creating economic dependencies, making Roman infrastructure indispensable. The British Empire understood it, controlled the seas, built ports across the globe, controlled global shipping routes. Didn't need to occupy every territory, just needed to control how goods move between territories. Control the logistics, and you control the profits. Control the profits, and you control the power. America understood it. Bretton Woods, dollar hegemony, swift payment systems. Doesn't matter if you manufacture everything. What matters is that trade clears through your financial infrastructure, that transactions use your currency, that the global economy depends on systems you control. That's logistics at financial scale. Control the flow of money and you control everything money can buy. Infrastructure creates dependency, voluntary dependency. Nobody forces you to use the road. But once the road exists, once it's the fastest route, once your business depends on it, you use it, have to use it. And whoever built that road now has leverage over your commerce, your economy, your choices. This is why infrastructure is power, not because it's impressive, because it creates irreversible dependencies. Once economies integrate around infrastructure, removing that infrastructure becomes economically catastrophic. So you don't remove it. You accept the terms of whoever controls it. You become dependent voluntarily, inevitably. Now look at China's Belt and Road Initiative, largest infrastructure project in human history. Hundreds of billions invested. Ports across Africa and Asia, railways connecting China to Europe, fiber optic cables spanning continents, power plants, highways, telecommunications networks. Massive construction, spanning dozens of countries. Standard narrative says this is development aid. China helping developing nations build infrastructure they couldn't afford otherwise. Win-win cooperation. Mutual benefit. South-South collaboration. The official story is all very benevolent, except look at the pattern. Look at the debt structures. Look at what happens when countries can't repay. Sri Lanka borrowed heavily for Hambantota port, couldn't service debt. Handed the port to China on 99-year lease. Chinese control of a strategic Indian Ocean port, paid for by Sri Lankan debt. Pakistan borrowed for belt and road projects, now faces unsustainable debt burdens. Chinese influence over economic policy increasing. Infrastructure dependence, creating political leverage. The projects get built, the debt accumulates, the leverage grows. This isn't development aid. This is the Royal Road in modern form. This is logistics-based hegemony. Build the infrastructure others need. Finance it with debt they can't repay. Convert that debt into control when they default. Same playbook Darius used. Just updated with modern financial engineering. The infrastructure itself is the weapon, not because it's militarized, because it creates dependency. Countries that use Chinese-built ports depend on Chinese goodwill for those ports to function. Countries connected by Chinese railways depend on Chinese maintenance and operations. Countries using Chinese telecommunications depend on Chinese technology and protocols. None of this requires military occupation, requires no invasion, no troops, no overt coercion. Just patient infrastructure investment, creating inevitable economic dependencies, creating leverage through logistics, creating control through connectivity. And it's not just physical infrastructure, it's digital. Fiber optic cables, satellite networks, 5G telecommunications, digital Silk Road running alongside physical one, data flowing through Chinese infrastructure, communications running through Chinese systems, creating the same dependencies in information space that roads and ports create in physical space. This is Persia's strategy perfected. Darius moved gold and messages. China moves data and goods. Darius built stations every 30 kilometers. China builds ports every strategic choke point. Darius created imperial courier systems. China creates global telecommunications networks. Different technology. Identical strategy. Control the infrastructure. Control the flow. Control the future. The future of power isn't military, it's logistical. Countries won't get invaded, they'll get isolated, locked out of supply chains, cut off from critical infrastructure, subjected to economic pressure that makes military force unnecessary. You won't see armies, you'll see port access denied, shipping routes disrupted, fiber optic cables dark, supply chains frozen, not through destruction, through control, through whoever owns the infrastructure deciding who gets to use it and on what terms. This is already happening. Russia-Ukraine conflict. Energy pipelines as weapons. Europe's dependence on Russian gas, creating political leverage, not military threat. Economic dependency weaponized. Control the energy infrastructure and you control the countries that need energy. China's rare earth processing. Controls global supply. Can restrict access anytime. Countries dependent on those materials have no military defense, have economic vulnerability, can be pressured without a shot fired. Infrastructure dominance creating strategic advantage. American dollar and SWIFT systems. Can exclude countries from global finance, can freeze assets, can deny access to international payments, not through superior military, through infrastructure control, through owning the systems that global commerce depends on. This is the future. Power through dependency, control through infrastructure, hegemony through logistics. And the playbook was written 2,500 years ago on a road from Susa to Sardis. The Persians proved infrastructure as power. The Romans refined it. The British globalized it. America financialized it. And China is rebuilding it in steel and fiber optic cable. Nobody needs to point a gun at you. They just slow down your supply chains, restrict your port access, limit your connectivity, and you surrender. Not because you lost militarily, because you can't function economically without the infrastructure they control. The Royal Road taught the world a lesson, that roads are weapons, that logistics is power, that whoever controls the flow controls the future. Persia fell, but the strategy survived, evolved, spread. And today it's everywhere. In every infrastructure project, in every connectivity initiative, in every development loan with strings attached. This is finance through time. We follow the money to show you that empires are built in construction sites, not battlefields. Persians ruled with the Royal Road. America rules with oceans and dollars. Do you think China's Belt and Road Initiative is the code to the New World Order? Or is it a debt bubble about to collapse? Let's discuss in the comments.